Right.
Like the grass.
Yeah.
The grass. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. I love that.
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Not much, dude. Trying to close the deal.
For what? On what?
Oh, I mean, it's my Truefit job. I'm trying to get some clients in. You know, it's a hard time for people to be building new software, so I'm trying to like convince them, you know, that it's still okay to build, that especially if they're in healthcare, it's something that can be pivoted towards the current pandemic and then adapted back into the normal industry whenever it's over. But people who are investing in things that are uncertain are just scared. So they're not, you know, it's not everybody. We definitely still are closing deals. We definitely still have business coming in, but you know, it's just harder because people are nervous.
Yeah.
It's fun though. I've had, you know, on the other hand, most people are, they're more open to having conversations. So I'm getting in the room with CEOs and higher level people and getting able to talk to people. And also because it's on Zoom and not in person, or it's not like during work hours, everybody feels more comfortable at home. So they seem to be less uptight, less particular about the people that they meet. So they're more open, they're more friendly. And, you know, everybody's stuck at home, so they just want to talk to another human.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I feel that. This is my second Zoom call today, podcast.
That's awesome. Yeah. So it's been good. I just had a couple cool calls today. Let me look at this real quick. I got them right here. There's a lady yesterday named Christy who's developing an app called Care Share, and it's like for home care. It's an app that'll help a lot of older people be able to use technology a lot easier. And then the caretakers can handle more clients at a time. So they can care for more people at once. So you can go do a few hours at somebody's house, and then you go do a few hours at somebody else's house, and then you can get 2 a day instead of, or even more than that, depending on how much work you have to do for them. So it's kind of scheduling and management, like business management for caretakers. And she wants us to maybe help build the app. She just has to get some thing. And then one today was really cool with a Pittsburgh company called Pharmaceutical RX. They're medical marijuana, but on like the science side. So they're the ones, the lady I talked to was the vice president of R&D today. And she was, they're trying to build a platform out for testing and for integrating basically an entire medical marijuana research lab onto a platform. So there's all the management and logistics that go behind that, and that's what they're trying to help. We're trying to build for them. So it's a lot of fun. But that's the Truefit stuff that's been up, and it's just kind of chill.
So that's on the Truefit side. Wow.
Yeah. That's the software companies.
How are you getting these leads or connections? What's your process?
So I've been refining that since
day one.
7 years ago.
Yeah.
maybe 5, but still. So I used to do it all manually, just research, like looking up software companies in whatever city on Google, and then building the lists myself, and then gathering all the contact information for as many people within the company that I could. That was the old way. And then LinkedIn got popular, and how LinkedIn makes life very easy. And I have a whole process that I do with Sales Navigator. Whole process with Sales Navigator and regular LinkedIn around targeting the right types of people and then connecting with as many of them as I can, as many as that it'll allow me to. And then from there, the ones that accept the invitations are the ones that I send a message to, because then it doesn't cost you an in-mail point. You can just send messages to your first connections. And surprisingly, people are pretty open to connect with people even if they haven't met them before, as long as there's some sort of adjacent business connection. And if you write genuine messages to people that are like, hey, we have some stuff in common, we should have a conversation. If there's nothing to come from it, like at least we met each other and we're aware that we're a resource. Great to meet you. But if there is something, I would hate to miss it. So let's talk about it and let's put something together if there's something there.
Mhm.
So, but those people, I only have those conversations with if they accept my LinkedIn request. And then of the people that accept the request, I send a message to each of them, and only a few of them respond. So those are the ones that turn into meetings.
Mhm. Nice.
Yeah.
I feel like I was doing that and I kind of stopped doing that. Now I get a bunch of people wanting to connect with me, and I don't know why. Because I put out like content all the time, but and I messaged them and they never responded to me. I don't know why they're connecting with me in the first place. So it's just weird.
Yeah.
So is that the gearhead, or is that your regular job?
No, that's all Truefit.
Okay.
That's my day job.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then, on the side, I have Gearheads and Rove. Yeah.
How do you kind of like divvy up that time? Do you like, what's your schedule?
I have
like?
no idea.
You don't know. You just
I have
do
no
it.
idea.
You just do it when you can.
It's all very loose, and you just go, and like each of them, as I think of something that I need to do for it, I tackle it, and I'm passionate about each of them in a different way. So like, it's not just, oh, I have an idea, oh shit, I have to go work. It's, oh, I have an idea and I want to get that done. Let's go do it. So that's how, with Rove, like it could go months and I don't make a new design. And then I could have a week where I think of 30 new sick designs. Like I'm doing that right now. I have a new line coming out for the t-shirt company around photos from Zion National Park. And we're going to do both photos and graphics, and then photos and graphics on the same shirt. And they're going to look sick.
Nice.
But like, I'm in the middle of that right now. So I'm like brainstorming a whole bunch of design ideas there. But like, it just came up. It's not planned. I'm not a routine guy. That's why I have startups, because I get bored of the routine. So I need something to break it up. But like, I managed to do all of it. I had a call for an hour with my Gearheads co-founder yesterday, just about getting a dev partner, helping finish out the app build and stuff like that. So in 2020, I feel like there's a job landscape where people are realizing that time-based work doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Like, you get paid for the amount of hours that you work. That's just against efficiency. So it's like, you get paid for the value. You should get paid for the value that you contribute. And if you can contribute that value in 2 hours a day, do that. Like, why would you work more? Like, work on other passion projects. So if you look back at like my Truefit path, it used to take me 40 hours a week to do my job, right? And this is pre my current job. I'm full-time 40 hours a week at my job now. But like, when I was part-time, it took me 40 hours a week to do my research. And after 2 or 3 years of doing it, I could get my entire list of leads done in like 3 hours on a Saturday, because I had the process optimized, completely optimized. And I actually just learned something for my prospecting now. Like, this is the same prospecting. So the prospecting that I'm doing now is the same that I used to do, but I also have like 10 times more responsibilities, like managing clients, having conversations with existing people that I already like got. But then the prospecting is to get new people. So if you look at my prospecting now, because of the old research that I used to do, I'm supposed to get like, we talked when I got my new job, I was supposed to get between 20 and 30 emails a week. Like, now I'm putting out 100 emails in 2 days.
Damn,
so
that's impressive.
My internet connections get a little funky. I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. It's just you're just lagging. Damn, how are you putting out 100 emails a day, man? That would take me.
Not a day, 2 days.
2 days. Okay, that would still take me. I did 100 in a day, and that took probably like 4 hours.
So the question for you is, are you sending unique emails? Like, does each email have to be unique by the person that you talk to, or can you create a format that you can just copy and paste in and send to everybody? Because then your email becomes not crafting each email. It becomes crafting one email and sending something similar to that to everybody.
Well, I have a
script that I use for each step of the process.
Yeah,
like here's my ones for getting that first appointment. So we do three what we call touches.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just how many points of contact you have with a person. And typically it takes between 3 and 5 touches to get somebody to respond.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my first touch is amazing. It works so well. And it's not like it's been crafted from tons of other people's stuff and my own stuff, so I can't claim it as my own. But like it's a compilation of tons of things that work really well and my voice. Like if I wouldn't say what I write in an email to somebody, I'm not going to send it.
100%.
Like I has to sound like, oh yeah, okay. So that first touch is like what everybody sees. Like say you and I connected and we hadn't met before. This is a genuine thing that I would say to everybody, which is why it's okay. If it was some scripted thing that I didn't mean, then it's going to be weird. But like, hey, thanks for connecting. I was looking at your profile, realized we have a few things in common. I work for a company called Truefit where we build new software. Additionally, I'm working on a few side projects and startups that might interest you. Do you have some time to chat in the next week or two? I'd love to hear about what you do and if there's any ways that we could help each other. I know times are crazy. Some are just consumed with keeping the ship afloat, but others are still open to connecting. I'd love to have an introductory call if you're still open to it.
That's pretty solid, man. That's pretty solid. I might have to adapt that, man.
Completely open-ended.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's completely open-ended. So they don't think, this ass is trying to sell me something.
Mm-hmm.
They don't think, who's this random person? It's acknowledging, no, I don't know you. It's also acknowledging, yes, I do have something to sell. But it's saying, hey, if you don't need what I have to sell, great. But it would be awesome to meet you. It'd be awesome to hear about what you're working on.
Mm-hmm.
And, at the very least, let's make a connection to see if we can help each other. And if we can, like, I'm here. I can tell you all about our process. And if you don't need me, like, let's just be friends and see if there's anything down the line that we can help each other with. So,
name of the game.
Honestly, yeah. So I've been at this for 7 or 8 months now. And I haven't closed my first deal yet, but we're dealing with such big numbers that like one deal a year could be all I need to hit my quota.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, plus starting off, it
takes about 6 months to even.
Okay. So it takes.
So I've been at my dad's company for 7 years. Yeah. But since September has been the only time I've been doing the relationship manager role.
Yeah. So, I mean, it takes forever to build a client list. It takes forever to just get familiar with somebody, to even trust somebody in that process. I mean, it's a difficult thing.
Yeah,
it takes
the
time.
part that I'm building up. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but now I have probably a dozen or 2 people who I'm constantly sending little messages to, like, hey, what's up? How's it going? How can we help?
Mm-hmm.
Like a couple startup guys who, pre-funding or pre-revenue, like. The only thing between them and working with us is this, like, how do I build the financial barrier or, break the financial barrier?
Mm-hmm.
And that with venture capital and angel investing and stuff like that, it's not too bad. So some people, if they have a good enough idea, can just put a pitch deck together and in a matter of months get hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars to fund their thing. So it's just a matter of them having the initiative. And honestly, for us, it's a qualifying factor, because if they're not willing to go out and go get some money for their idea, granted, it could be a business strategy thing, but if they're not willing to go out and fund something somehow, then they're not serious enough about their idea to work with us. So it's not us being rude. It's like they're just not ready yet. It's not that they couldn't down the road. We want to help them, but there's a million entrepreneurs out there, and I think of a million, like 10 of them are successful.
Yeah,
maybe 100.
I saw. I think
it's 1% of every startup.
I was just reading this today.
1% of every startup succeeds. So.
I was reading today, like yesterday. I literally think yesterday it was like 50% of businesses with employees survive. Maybe it was 75 survive after the first year, and then it was like 50% after the second year, and then it was like 25 after the third year, and then I figured some ridiculously low number after 10 years. And it's like, yeah, it's there's a lot of them out there. Everyone's trying to be it, but I don't know. You just gotta have the numbers there, to be able to do it.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing too is that, like, with startups and with a good idea, you might only need 2-3 years to be set for the rest of your life.
That's correct. Yeah.
Like some
You
of
just
those guys
sell it.
sell after 2-3
Mhm.
years for multiple millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you can invest that money correctly and invest it safely enough that it still makes money, like you can go sit on a beach for the rest of your life if you wanted to. I could never do that, but
You ever see Silicon
I'd be
Valley?
bored. I've watched parts of it, but I haven't like
Yeah.
made it the whole way through yet.
Yeah. I don't know. This guy, there's like a guy, he sells like his company. Okay. Yeah, but there's a part, where a guy in the beginning like sells his company for like like 100 million to Google or whatever. And then like halfway, he's like all happy and celebrating. And then like halfway through, he's like super depressed because he sold his company and he's not a part of it anymore. And he's like alcoholic and he's got nothing to do. But I don't know. It's a good show. So for your apparel brand, what are you trying to do?
I mean, at that point, you just come up with another idea.
Yeah, that's correct. So for your apparel brand, did you get more partners other than me? Because I saw on the partnership page you had a couple more.
Yeah, dude, that went way better than I thought it was gonna.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, this is kind of a cool idea. I wonder if people actually do it. And then like I was working on a couple projects with people. Honestly, there's more to come too. But
Hell yeah.
So I was working on a couple projects with people, and I just asked them randomly. I was like, yo, like, do you want apparel for your business? Because it's so hard to go through the process of like calling a printer and like managing that whole thing and making sure the print quality is good and then like telling them how you want it. And like on my back end of Rove, I can do all that on my own and it'll just show up. So I was like just asking people, and now I print for them like I do for you. And they can come up with whatever design. I'm a designer, so I can help them design new t-shirts. And like, it just kind of, it's a nice little symbiotic relationship.
Yeah. Dude, that's
who's on here now.
If you could just get like a couple more, like you could easily get so many people doing that, and it would just be you just creating the page. That'd be so simple, man. That's such a good idea.
Yeah, it's just they can run through, and I'll probably have different arrangements with each of them. Like you and I have our own arrangement, and I have a different arrangement with somebody else because that's what they wanted, and like it just depends. And it's similar because all of our photographers who contribute to our brands and our brand shirts have a deal with us anyway. So most of them get, we only have one right now, so he gets 50% of the profits on everything he sells. But that's the whole ethos of the business, is to help photographers make money with their work. So I started it at 50%. If I can get this back end thing running and get some like minor revenue generated there, I might try to balance, flip that scale a little bit in the favor of the photographers. Because that's really why we have the business. It's to give these photographers a chance to make money off their work.
Rove Apparel, so that is.
I've been
That's why you have Rove Apparel. It's to highlight the photographers.
That's Rove Apparel.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go on our page here under home, there's a few little, and scroll down, there's a few little bits of information about us. So I wrote these, but it's adventure meets creativity. How can we translate our experiences into a tangible product? Our goal is to capture the endless opportunities this world offers to us and commit them to our brand. This way we can all share our experiences with the world. What's the next experience you seek? We partner with photographers. Not every photographer gets the opportunity to go pro, but many photographers still have an incredible eye for their craft. Rove Apparel is a collaborative workspace between designers and photographers where everybody can profit. Shoot us an email if you want to apply. And then I have a video at the bottom kind of talking about that. But like, that's really why I made the brand. That's why the t-shirts kind of came out. That's why I started doing the designs. But then these partner things in the last like month or two since you and I talked, I was like, this is genius. And I have my other brands as well. So I'm like, I need to print merch. Like even my design work, like the cartoons that I've been doing, I'm going to turn those into canvases and sell them to Rove.
Oh, that's
so
nice.
People can then purchase them. Yeah, dude. I mean, like I'm going to redo a whole bunch of celebrities too. Cause obviously people probably don't want posters of random people they don't know. But
Mhm.
like, if I could do like really cool ones of a whole bunch of celebrities, like then you just market based off of which ones you think what demographic of people would buy.
Yeah.
And then you sell posters. And the company that I use for production does all of it still. Like, it's dope.
You got it down pat, man. I'm,
So
I'm glad I was number one, man. I was number
I just
one.
got lucky and I had a cool friend.
There you go.
You were
man.
number one. You'll always be the first
Yeah.
one.
I didn't know that's what Rove Apparel
Literally
was
the
for.
day after you, though.
And then, so you have the Rove Apparel, and then you have Gearhead. You want to elaborate on what Gearhead is, just more, just for the podcast to just explain it, I guess.
Yeah, so we went over Rove Apparel, but way before Rove, like literally 2.5 years before Rove. Like Rove got started January 2020,
Mm-hmm.
and that was really early. It was a very quick idea. I was like, I always wanted to do T-shirts, so the passion was already behind it, and the idea happened in like a matter of days, like 2 days, and I just kind of executed on it. And in a matter of a month, I had the whole page up. I had all the designs done, and I had them kind of for sale. So, obviously, like I haven't made very much money with Rove at all. Like I've probably had $800 revenue in 3 months, right? But that's like decent for a very unknown, undeveloped brand, right? As the brand develops, as people know, that number will scale. Like I have people who I meet with on calls. I got a guy a couple weeks ago who, like, I told him about my company and he went and bought gear, and he's in Arizona. So now the brand's in Arizona, and some cool dude is wearing our stuff in Arizona. Like, it's awesome. So, Gearheads was a whole different thing. We've been working on Gearheads since I think 2018. My best friend and I, who went to kindergarten together, we kind of got out of touch in high school, got back in touch in college. And then after college, we were both kind of trying to get into working out. So we did this workout program from a company called BPN in Austin, Texas, where we just, it was like German volume training and 2-hour workouts 6 days a week with just tons. It's super intense. It's awesome though. And highly recommend. I went into the program at like probably 150 pounds and came out at like 180 muscle. So you obviously have to pair the nutrition plan well enough with it, but it was just a lot of fun. So during that process, we were getting into some exercises that we were familiar with but hadn't mastered yet. Squats being the particular one. So we were standing in the Sewickley YMCA here in Pittsburgh, in a squat rack, kind of watching each other's form and giving each other critique and just kind of trying to help each other. So, reduce risk of injury, improve efficiency kind of stuff. And we were like, we just said like, dude, there has to be a platform that does this. There has to be an app or something. And so we went and looked for one. And he and I had always wanted to start a company together. We went and looked for one, and we didn't like anything that we saw. There was like a couple options, but they didn't really give us enough detail. So jokingly, we said to each other, and this is how Tim and I work. We'll joke about something and then we'll do it. Jokingly, we said to each other, let's just build it. Let's see. Like, I have a design degree and I work for a software company, so I'm relatively familiar with the parts. I'm not a master by any means, but like, we can figure it out. He's a mechanical engineer from Penn State. And a Navy pilot. So he's very good with manufacturing, how to build something, how to get the technical side really solid so that it's built the right way. And built the right way from the beginning, so we don't have to go redo any work whenever we get partners. So we kind of partnered up. We spent probably 6 months to a year just talking about business strategy and the business model and what the product would be and how we wanted the product to work and why it was beneficial. We did all the research behind that for a year. And then we kind of started,
Nothing.
Oh,
Go ahead.
we started looking into technologies to build it in. And that's when Tim started downloading stuff and doing some code. So we coded a lot of the initial platform on our own. And then we met, there was a very small amount, but kind of just the basic structure. then one of Tim's Navy buddies, John, was interested, and we ended up getting him involved, and he really made the platform more robust on the back end. He taught us a whole lot of stuff around like the different parts of how you build something like we were trying to build, because we were literally just guessing. Like there's industry standards and there's best practices that we just didn't know. So John really helped us with that. He's a wizard with code. And he's very determined to solve problems. Like if he can't solve a problem, he gets like almost frustrated about it. And then he goes and tackles it. So you're like, John, let's come have a beer. He's like, nah, I got to figure this out. So he really hooked us up, and then he had to step away for like a different project that he was working on. And we were cool with it. So we kind of lost him for a little bit. Tim worked on our own. And then we partnered up with one of the interns from Truefit, who's now, I think, he's a full-time dev at Truefit. He's also a wizard. And he was doing some work on the back end for a little bit, and then he had to drop out as well, and John came back. So we kind of have this policy where it's open door, because we're a startup. Like I can't give them anything. So I really just appreciate the help. I really appreciate people being interested in our idea and working with us to make it happen. And, you know, if they need to come and go, great. You know, and I've been super happy that they have come back sometimes. So there's this whole cultural thing in work sometimes where it's like people, like if people quit, you don't like them anymore, and everybody at the company dislikes them. It's like, well, why? Like
that is, yeah.
It's just the next professional move. So, and Truefit's really good about that. My dad in particular has always like welcomed people back. I mean, this is just what I'm aware of. I'm sure other people in Truefit are like this as well. But like, I've watched my dad be very accepting of people who quit and came back, and he's very welcoming to have them back. And we're almost happy to have people back at Truefit. So there's like a no hard feelings. If you have to leave, fine. Obviously there's sometimes some like misalignment stuff that's a little harder to deal with when somebody quits, but most of the time it's been pretty amicable. And also people, like we've had like 8 or 10 people come back and, you know, in and out. Right. So some people, we call it tours, right? Some people are on their like 3rd tour of duty at Truefit.
Damn,
so
really?
I want to have that kind of mindset around my company as well, because I've seen how well it works and how it helps company culture. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of how we've been building out the team. And on top of John and Sam, you know, Tyler's our CFO. So he's doing a lot of our financial projecting. Like I don't even have a product to sell, and I know how much I'm going to sell it for and how many units I need to make $1 million. I know how many units I need to sell to hire an entire team. like so I have all these benchmark numbers that will accomplish things, and I don't even have anything to sell yet. So he's kind of on standby, and then we're going to develop the subscription model. We're going to develop a financing program, so people can buy things, like, because it's a relatively expensive item where there's a lot of software that goes behind it. There's a lot of healthcare research that goes behind it. And the amount of time that we put into it is, you know, worth a lot. And we're even selling it for half price in our market compared to competitors. So like our margins are great and we're providing a lot of value. So for the team, I'm like, all right, how can I get these guys on board as soon as possible? Mm-hmm. But that's where we're shooting for now. I'd love to be doing it full time. I also would love to figure out how to do both that and Truefit at the same time, because all of the relationships that are built between the two of them will be synonymous, I think would be a good word. Like if I'm meeting with gyms and healthcare people and, you know, stuff like that, those are all people that could be valid customers for Truefit. So like maybe the structure of my job there is different, but it's, you know, I'm still there. Yeah.
Just grinding, man. Just constantly working. I love it.
But that's why I do each of them. It's not work. Like,
oh yeah, true.
Just because like Gearheads and Rove really, really, really aren't a lot of work. You know, sometimes it's problem solving, but I love it. Truefit's a little bit less aligned with, like it used to be. It used to be a little bit less aligned with like my design skills and my creative thinking. But, you know, over the years, I've been able to kind of master the sales process, which has helped me with both Rove and Gearheads. And I started doing some marketing stuff for Truefit, like content development. So it's like I kind of have a creative outlet there too.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome, man.
It's really been just a lot of fun. And everybody's like, man, you do too many things. And then I have this friend I also do projects for in Santa Barbara. And I was kind of telling him about myself, and he goes, I would be weirded out if you didn't have that many things going on. He's like, I would be less impressed with a young person in general if they had like nothing going on or one thing going on. Because the mind space that we have to switch contexts is very powerful when we're younger. And it gets less and less powerful as we're older. So, and I'm a big experience guy. So if I can try as many things as I possibly can in my life, as many unique things, no matter what they are, different types of food, different vacations, different places to visit, different jobs, different, everything. Different types of coffee, different types of beer,
Yeah.
Different everything. The more unique things that I get to interact with in my life, the better. So doing these startups, they're both kind of aimed at that, right? Like, and most importantly, helping as many people as I can along the way to not, both with the companies and to do what I'm doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why that's all my Gearheads crew is all friends and like family.
Mm-hmm.
So the more people that we can bring into that fold, the more of a community that we can build and the tighter knit group we can have. Eventually we'll start hiring people that we don't know, but it'll be very important for them to kind of fit the mindset of the company, understand why we're here, why we're doing what we're doing, that work is a holistic part of life. It's not a separate thing from life. That's one of the things that I really don't like about the current majority of job markets. It's you go get a job so that you can live a life. And I don't like that. It should be doing your job as part of your calling that is part of your life, that almost is your life. And then you get time to like chill out from that, because you have like productivity is a roller coaster, not a straight line or even an incline. So you have to have the rest and the self-care that it takes to manage that kind of work. And that doesn't happen at a current, it doesn't happen at a continuously grinding speed, or people would burn out. And you watch people burn out who do. Even the guys like Gary Vee who are just moving all the time, that's their threshold to move at that pace. And he's a relatively healthy guy, it looks like, right? I don't know the background of his health, but like, if you watch him, he always has more energy than anybody else in the room. He always is being productive. He's always helping people, and he's always doing another thing. But I think the context switching that he's able to do between like garage sailing and wine and VaynerMedia and Vayner Sports and all that is like off of the fact that he's figured out the context switching needed to sustain each one of them individually. So you're like, for me, I'm bored of what I'm doing at Gearheads right now. So I need a context switch to get to Rove. It's not even that I'm bored of the company. I'm just bored of the current task that I need to do. And so I need a context switch. I'm going to go to Rove for a minute, or I'm going to go do something for Truefit. Even if it's 10 minutes, I still get something done for that company. And then I can jump back to what I was doing beforehand. So even these cartoons, some of the cartoons have taken me hours, and they're, super intensive, and some of them are relatively quick, and I'll just whip one out in like 30 minutes for a break. And then I have because I have way more cartoons done in the background than I have posted.
Mm-hmm.
So that's nice too, because then if I need like a day to like not do a cartoon, I can do that.
Yeah. I'm the same way. Like I'll take I don't have multiple businesses to do it with, but I'll hop on like After Effects or Blender and like watch a tutorial on some type of try to make a piece of content for Play Financial or whatever. Or I do like a podcast, which is like an hour of my day or however long it is. But that's like my context switch, or I try to walk or run. But like it is important to kind of like to be able to do that. And especially when tests are boring, especially when it's like there's no immediate reward to it, like cold calling or cold messaging, and there's like no end to it. And sometimes it's like it's almost nothing. It's important to like be able to do switch like that, so you can kind of go back to it. So if you like just cold calling somebody all day, or just typing all day, cold messages or cold email, like you're gonna burn yourself out, like you said. So it's important to like kind of go with that flow, like you said, of that roller coaster with I guess progress, or I forget what you said, but it was a good point.
It's context switching.
Yeah, context
roller coaster of context. Because I'm very, I never got diagnosed with ADD or anything like that, but like I'm very, like I want to be really productive at something for a minute, and then I want to go be really productive at something else. I'll even like do some Truefit work and be like, all right, I need a break. I'm gonna go do all of my laundry, like even daily tasks. But I don't want that laundry to be spread out over a long period of time, and I don't want my Truefit work to be spread out over a long period of time. Like each moment of tasks, eventually adds up to full-time work, but like it's not all at once full-time.
It's kind of like productive procrastination in a sense.
Yeah, exactly. It is. But it's healthy. I think I work 10 times more efficiently if I do that. Like literally I get my job done really well doing it like that. And if I have to sit and do one thing for forever, I get very anxious. My productivity goes down. I get nervous, right? I get like annoyed, and then I try to problem solve my way out. And it's almost like productive claustrophobia if I have to do just one thing. So, but like now that I have Rove and Gearheads and Truefit together, the startup side honestly lends me more credibility to people in Truefit calls. So they're a good thing. It's like kind of this ecosystem. And then I can have, if I meet somebody and it's very clear that like they don't need Truefit, instead of awkwardly hanging up the phone because I don't have anything else to talk about, I can ask them about what they do and see if it can help either of my businesses, or I can ask them what they do and see if my businesses can help them. Like, there's all these different
prolongs the conversation in a sense.
And it builds rapport, right? Because now that person isn't somebody that I have to never talk to again, but it's a relationship that I have somewhere, so that when something does come up, I'm top of mind, right? And Gary Vaynerchuk says it well. He says, how many people are going to show up at my funeral, right? How many people am I going to impact in my life to the point where they would show up at my funeral, right? So, and obviously you can't hit that scale with everybody, but it's how do you project the most amount of positivity into the world rather than any negativity. So the negativity of not getting a match with a Truefit client is I don't get any work, but if I focus on that, then I lose the chance to have a relationship with somebody and possibly help them with something else of value that I have. Like most people don't know that I even do design work in the background. Like, and I could whip out logos, or I could whip out logos that would be on popular companies, right? Like, not that I'm not bragging, but it's like I just understand how it works. So it's not
multifaceted. You get the tool belt, baby.
The quality of my logos is up to the viewer, but like, I know that I can go through the process of developing a logo around a certain personality for a company. I just know I have the functionality to do that. So, and then like photography and videography, I can do tons of it, but it's on the back end, and people often don't see it. But like right before this, I had somebody ask me to do all of the headshots for her for her recruiting business. So she would like recruit people in, and then she'd help them like do up their resume or their LinkedIn profile so they could send it to people. And like, I'm super excited to get into that. And that's not even, that's a whole new project. So I love stuff like that.
So what do you think is, for all this entrepreneurial work, what is like the number one skill that you think kind of goes to all three of your what you're doing? What is like the number one thing that you think is just the most beneficial factor for all three of them?
So there's two things that I would say like right off the bat are just really good skills. I think having vision and being able to see multiple steps of a process when they don't exist yet is really helpful. So like if I said, hey, I want to do t-shirts and I just started making t-shirts, then there's no structure and there's no, like, I'm not aiming at a target. My professor in college always told us, know the end from the beginning. And that was in regards to rendering. So when I am going to draw a car, I want to see that car in my head before I ever start drawing the car. So then I can follow a template of going through the strokes that make that car happen.
Yeah, like
right?
tracing or something, in a sense.
Yeah. So, I mean, tracing is a way, but even like if I have a blank white piece of paper that I have to put something on.
Well, I'm just saying it's like you're kind of like projecting that final image.
I wasn't seeing it that way, but
Mm-hmm.
I understand what you're saying. So I just kind of scale that concept into business development. So when I say Rove, I think let's make t-shirts. I also like photography. Now it's like, how do I connect t-shirts and photography? Oh, easy. Put photography on t-shirts. But that's not quite good enough, right? That's not quite good enough to be a full concept. So now we have to say, why are we putting photos on t-shirts? And how does it relate to my other passions? And that's, I'm a photographer. I like to be a photographer. And I wish I could make money off of my photography. I wish I could. And I don't have the ability to right now. It's not that I don't. I just don't have the jobs to, line it up. And I'm probably not good enough at creating the leads to get those jobs, right? So this was my way of saying, hey, let's, do something that's within my bandwidth, that's making money off of photography, and then helping other people do that same thing, literally through partnering with photographers. So, and now other businesses as well, like through this, partner printing program that I'm doing. But the same thing happened with Gearheads. It was like, how do we start as a simple, form tracking camera? What's out there already that can pinpoint body points? How do we turn that into something slightly different that works for what we want it to work for? How does that interface with the customer? How can we adapt that to be more integrated with the customer and all of the things that the customer does? For instance, like, how do we put sensors on all gym equipment? Or cameras? How do we track form of every exercise in the gym? Then it's like, hey, we can track form of every exercise in the gym. Why don't we just open our own gym that's completely sensor driven? Now we can do that, and that creates a real estate play that now we have to go buy things in different cities to make each city location of our gym. And then it's like, well, now we need people in each of those places. So with the remote work, kind of, especially after COVID, remote work is going to be super normal. So why don't we just create some housing as a real estate investment for the company that houses the employees for the company? So then the employees are part of this community and they're integrated with the gym location, and we have the ability to like utilize that real estate investment directly with a company. So like even I could go get a real estate license, be able to manage it all myself. So that's the vision side of it. And then right off of like this real estate certification comment is you have to have the ability to learn new things that you're not necessarily interested in, right? Like I love the t-shirt business. I love photography. I really, really don't like building websites. I hate building websites, like to the point where I don't want to build websites ever. And
yeah, it's like, awful. It's awful.
It's awful. It's so bad. And no system that's out there is easy enough to customize to the extent that I, as a designer, want to customize it. So unless I learn how to code, which then that's a whole new thing that I have to
and then you got to apply it to that. It's like multiple layers. Yeah.
So it's just one of those things that I haven't yet learned how to do. I'm willing to do it, but I don't know it well enough that I could, customize this website. So, and on the back end, right, like I have to manage printing. I don't only have to design the shirts, but I have to manage getting the shirts on the right material, and then figure out the pricing structure behind each individual product based off of how much it costs to make, because there's tons of variables around each shirt. So like, I didn't know all that stuff when I got into it, but I learned it. And I was willing to not say, no, I don't do back-end business work. I only am a designer. I was willing to say I can learn more than one thing. And the guy who did the BPN workout program that Tim and I did when we started Gearheads, his name's Nick Bear. He just recently talked about like try and learn one, if not three new things a day, right? If you can do work that causes you to learn 3 new things, and then you multiply that by the amount of days in a year that you're doing work, like you have 1,000 new skills a year.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Compounding. Just compounding.
Yeah, it's compounded, right? Like if you sit and don't learn anything new a day, imagine how far you are behind somebody who's learning 3 new skills a day.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I'm not even learning 3 new skills a day. I'm definitely trying 3 new things a day. I'm not necessarily learning them and working them into my toolbox, so to speak. That's the word Nick uses. But I'm trying things and then deciding which skills I want, like which tools I want in my toolbox, and then I'm customizing my toolbox to be around a certain concept. And then the tools I don't want in my toolbox, I outsource. So I get like a tool contractor, right? Like, and we're actually about to do that with Gearheads, where we said, hey, the depth of development that we need to build a good software platform is not within our toolbox. So we need to acknowledge that, be humble enough to say, hey, we can't do everything. We can do a lot of things, but not everything. And we need somebody else's tool set to help us get there. So we can pay for that. And even if those tools create a rough sculpture of what we need it to be, then we can still, how do I want to say this? Even if it can just create a rough sculpture of what we want it to be, then we can still use like the sandpaper to refine it into the right thing, right? So for instance, in software, right, like there's a lot of people who do onshore work and there's a lot of people who do offshore work. So if you outsource your work to somebody who's less familiar with technology than you, it's typically so much cheaper, which is great, but you're also sacrificing quality. So you're not going to get a maybe high standards, organized, or coded in an organized way sort of platform. But you'll get close enough to the point where you would understand how to organize it yourself, because you don't have to write it all from scratch. Like Tim knows how to edit code, but he's really good at editing code, but writing the code from scratch is a different thing. He hasn't delved that deep into it yet. And it's
he's dangerous enough though.
Yeah, he's dangerous enough. Yeah. So if we can get a cheaper platform built in, let's say like the Ukraine or India, or I think the guy we're working with, the company's based out of Colorado, but then the dev is in Pakistan or something like that. So it's cool, but that way, like we can get the cheaper dev, and then Tim can fix it, and then down the road we can make sure that it's built from them in the right way that it'll work with Truefit when Truefit builds our mobile app. So because I work at Truefit, why not have them develop our software? But they're expensive, and the quality of what they build is like, what we build, I should say, is way up here. Whereas I could get this done, and then we could make it there on our own, and then have them plug in their side of it. That would double it up, basically, double up the whole concept to be way more valuable. So I would think the two, just to reiterate, the 2 skills that you have to be a good entrepreneur are vision and the ability to learn new things, and the willingness to learn new things. And I think open-mindedness would be a third. Like if you're judging things the whole way along the line, you're never going to get anything done. But you have to also have a standard, right? Like I'm not just open-minded to everything to the point where I'm going to integrate crap into my products, right? But I'm open-minded enough to see if anything would make it better, right?
It's key. I totally agree. I was listening to some rapper on Instagram Live one time, and he's trying to tell people how to make it in the music industry. And he's like, all of you guys need to stop making mixtapes and whatever, and just learn like Adobe Premiere, Photoshop, and After Effects. Just totally learn all that, get the promotion side of it down, and then start making music. And then you can promote your music. And I was like, wow, I should do that with Clay Financial. So I literally just downloaded like Premiere and all that jazz, and like took massive tutorials on it. And it's just like, you gotta be like, to be able to even recognize that you should listen to that advice and then act on it and learn it. It's just key.
Well, and it's cool with you because like you're in an industry that typically would be the least creative industry, right?
Oh yeah, it's just so
super
terrible.
Interesting creative spin, and you've put it on your, and now like you know, if my brother wasn't also in finance, I would be like, yo, like I'd give Steve my money,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, because he's cool and he's not like some uptight finance guy. Like he's having fun over there, and he also knows what he's talking about because he's putting out real advice, right? Even through conversations like this, you're validating how credible you are. So I think it's sick.
We're at an hour though, but is there anything that you want to kind of like leave out on? If you want to like just promote your own stuff, just because it's gonna these take forever to upload, but just whatever you want to like finish up on.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to go follow the businesses, if anybody wants to go do that, let's see. Let me make sure I get all these right. My personal Instagram is Andrew D Grove, and then you could follow ADG Productions. That's my photography and videography account. Gearhead Athletics and Rove Apparel are all the Instagram tags. And I pretty much live on Instagram. I haven't jumped into TikTok, and I don't do anything on Snapchat. So.
TikTok.
Yeah, I'm not a comic persona enough for TikTok, I don't think. But I think it's cool, and if like even stuff from this video could be good content for stuff down the road. So yeah. Okay. But if anybody has any questions or if I can help them with anything, like feel free to reach out on any of those accounts and just hit me up and see what I can do.
Thanks for coming on, man.
Absolutely, dude. That was a blast.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna post this. I did one today, and I gotta post that. I'm gonna post that one on Monday. I post this one on Wednesday, and then I'll do like a clip, and then post it 2 times, and then just keep doing it whenever I want to.
Yeah, they end up on Spotify too, right?
Yeah. I'll probably put the Spotify up today.
Okay, sweet.
And then I'm gonna like I have like 2 photographer friends that I'm gonna try to like connect with you because
be sick.
They've been doing it. I might have 3, but yeah, I try to get them in touch with you. It's pretty cool that you're trying to do that. It makes a lot of sense too. And then for that my buddy's company, how do you want me to introduce you, or what do you need?
Can you just do that text connect? I just texted you my number, and then just connect us on the phone or whatever, and I can kind of work out all the details with them.
Okay.
But I think that would be cool to have on the site. I think it'd be good to kind of make people more comfortable with that topic and stuff like that too. So I mean, you can kind of list stuff out and post, but like the whole
100%. That's what. Yeah.
The whole like medical marijuana stuff is super interesting to me, and because I took my nutrition cert and then also simultaneously did some medical research on that, it's really good stuff, man. Like it could potentially replace the whole opioid industry.
Hopefully.
Like opioids are straight up so bad for you.
Yeah.
Like they're terrible for you. They mess with your mind. They're addictive as hell. And marijuana is the exact opposite, and it has a lot of the same benefits. So, and marijuana does not harm you. It's,